Welcome back, those of you following our tutorial series. This is episode 5, which is all about animals. So let's get started. First thing, since our last tutorial, there haven't been many changes to the base, just some new rooms down here, a new joy room and wedding chapel and party room, and the rest is all pretty much the same as it was. Except for this new area that we've constructed over here, which is going to be my animal farm and animal barn. Now I've set up the barn here. The design I've used is for no particular purpose other than aesthetics, to make it look a little like a barn with little animal cubicles, and in those cubicles I've put animal sleeping spots. Now these are under furniture. There's animal sleeping spot and animal bed. They will take any size animal. Animal sleeping box will only take small animals. So if you're finding they're not using them, you may have the wrong type. You can right click these and you can make them out of different materials. Now that I have some materials in stock, I will start to put in more comfortable beds for them. You'll get a range of different animals, some that will self-tame and some that you will have to tame. All animals have a taming, they call it handling skill, which is under their information button. Minimum handling skill 0 for huskies, as opposed to my warg, which is a minimum handling skill of 6. So it took quite a while before I had someone who was actually able to train my warg. Now, I break my animals into two kinds of animals: my working and fighting animals and my farming animals. My farming animals tend to just live in the farm area, whereas my working and fighting animals have more unrestricted access, so that they can be near their masters, and I have actually put beds in their rooms, which they often sleep near their masters too. However, some of them still come and choose to sleep in the barn just because they can once in a while. Now inside this barn area I have set up 6 different stockpiles. Now the reason for this, actually these ones here have the same good. They both will have kibble when full. This one here has corn, this one potato, and this one berries. Animals will eat different things depending on what kind of animal they are. So this one will eat vegetables, seeds, live plants, meals, and liquor and kibble. Now, I'm not going to send my bear out to the animal farm though. So what I've done, if you put down one storage yard and set all of those types as available, they may just fill it up with potatoes, which means there's not a range of food for your animals. So instead I've set each storage zone to a food type. And that way I know that there is always a mixture of food in my farmyard for my farm animals. And one of these spots will hold 75 kibble or 75 of any other food. So just be aware of that number when you're working out what to keep in storage. Now there are some animals that eat meat. I have actually had a panther self-tame, and it will eat meat, raw meat, corpses, animal products, meats, and luckily kibble. So while there's kibble in here, that's fine, but there are no wild animals in this area. So as the cougar, panther, not cougar, is limited to this area, if the kibble runs out, it may attack my animals. So you want to be careful and make sure you keep enough food in supply, or be careful how you mix your meat-eating animals with your farm animals. I could make them a trained pet and give them unrestricted access, and then they could go out into the wild and hunt should the kibble run out, which is what I might do. We'll see what happens. Now, there's a screen here to look at called Animals. We're going to have a little look through the screen first, and then we're going to move on to areas. So all of your animal names are on the left, and then their gender, their age, depending on the size of the circle, and if you want to mark them for slaughter. This one is if you want to mark them for obedience, release, rescue, and haul. So a yellow circle means that they're trained in that, and a green tick means that you've set them to be trained in, you've asked them to be trained in that. Their master shows here, and all animals, once they've learnt obedience, which is the first thing that they learn in training, gain a master. You can change that master should you wish. And over here we have allowed areas. You'll start with unrestricted and home and one other area. I removed that and added 2 of animal farm and animal barn. Now if we zoom out, you will see these on the right hand side here. Animal farm is the open area and the barn area, and animal barn is just the barn area. This allows me to quickly put the animals away in case of attack or toxic fallout. I can put them back inside the barn just by telling them barn only. Now these little white bubbles, the last thing on the end of the line, that is pregnant animals, and it shows the stage of pregnancy. I started with just a warg, and then I purchased 2 huskies. The rest of the huskies on this list are the offspring of Adam and Tara. So some animals will breed quite fast. Now this training, it is only worth training certain animals, and it depends on their intelligence level to how, mostly their intelligence level, to how what you can train them in. So a warg is advanced, and you can train them in everything: obedience, release, rescue and haul. So obedience is required before any training. Release, so if you turn on any of these, obedience will automatically turn on to be trained. Release is to go and attack enemies. You can send them out to hunt down enemies. They are faster than your colonists often. So if you've got, if they're fleeing and you want to try and catch them, sometimes it's easier for the animals to catch them. Rescue will rescue colonists and bring them back to safety. And hauling, which is the first thing I train them in, especially the huskies because it requires such a low handling skill, is really helpful. They will bring in all the food from the farms and put it in storage. They'll fill up the stockpiles in here. They're one of the most useful members of your community once you've got them trained in hauling. Now that said, pigs can be trained to an advanced level and can be trained in all of those things. But they're slower, so I wouldn't make, and they don't have as much health, they wouldn't make good attack pets. Maybe if you had enough, a large enough number of them, but I'd choose wisely which ones you choose to train. Now next, with the areas, there's a couple of important things. You can manage them under zone, area, expand allowed area, and all of your allowed areas will appear, or clear allowed area. There's also manage allowed areas under here, and that same button is available in this screen, manage areas. This is where you can add a new area. There are 2 types of area, one for people and one for animals. So the people ones will show in the people menus and the animal ones will show in the animal menus. And when you create a new one, you can just create it, and then you can go to expand allowed area, select the new area and mark out the area that it belongs to. Animals have unrestricted and home or automatic. Home is anywhere that you've built structures. You can edit the home area should you wish. Animal farm and animal barn. The people have unrestricted home and one I've created called inside, and again that's for toxic fallout so that they can't get outside. The other thing, when you wall off an area like this, because here I've put a walk through in case of toxic fallout so I can get to the barn and feed my animals, and here I've walled off along here so that predators can't get in to this area, and I've eliminated any predators in that area. But when you do that, the game is going to try and roof that because it's going to detect that it's a closed-in area and try and roof it, and you can get roof collapses that will kill your animals and your people. So there is a expand no roof area, and I've marked this as a no roof area because I want the grass to grow and the plants to grow. The animals will sometimes come out and eat grass or flowers or seeds just from the ground, which saves you people having to feed them. Now, talking about feeding them too, I have put a hay grass field in the animal side of the farm area. The reason for that being, people will come out and plant it and they'll harvest it too. But sometimes your animals will come and eat directly from the field, which saves you people having to harvest it. So if you are going to plant one, I suggest putting it on that side. The other thing you're going to want to look at is in here there is a, under the butcher table, there is make kibble. And again, you want to set an amount. I've got mine high at 1,000. And it uses meat and vegetarian and hay products to produce kibble. But it makes your food go further, and many animals will eat kibble as an alternate food. So I do suggest that you get a kibble farm going. Now your animals will become, your people will become bonded to animals that they're affectionate to. If that happens and you sell all of them, they will get a negative for a while because it's the loss of anything. So just be aware of that if you go to sell the animals on them. Oh, and there are animals that lay eggs, such as snakes, chickens, tortoise, and if you actually want to create a hatchery, most eggs are unfertilized unless you have a male of the species. If you want to if you actually want some of the fertilized ones to survive though, I suggest setting up an area for storing them until they hatch, and setting up a animal area which is all but eggs and exclude the eggs area. Because some of your predator animals, such as the warg, love eggs and protein and meat. So if there's a choice between kibble and eggs, they will probably go and eat your eggs. So just be aware of that, and set up a protected area if you want to start farming chickens or something like that. The eggs do make a good food. Where you have to use 10 of a vegetable, you may only have to use 2 eggs. So they are great that way. But you do have to protect them a little bit. There are also animals, for instance, such as the llama here, that will regularly drop bundles of alpaca wool, which is a nice handy byproduct, and cows will produce milk as well. So many different animals provide different resources. It'll be fun experimenting which ones suit you and which ones you prefer raising. Also, depending on what ones the traders bring to you as well, will change what you may farm at your base. Of course, all of them can be slaughtered for food, so if you had a particularly harsh winter and needed them for food, they won't fight back in this case. It'll be a quick death, and then they'll be available for food. Now, if anyone was bonded to that animal, they will be upset by it. And that's about it today for today's tutorial. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.